Hey up YouTube, I'm Nathan. Welcome to my new channel, the Handmade Bowl Co. Coming from Yorkshire, England. This is my first video blog, so please bear with me. And as it's my first video, I wanted to talk about my micro workshop. I'm stuck for space here, so I've had to cram everything I have into a wooden shed that's 6'6" long by 4'6" wide and 7'6" high. I'd like to share everything I've done here with others that might struggle for space. I've seen a lot of small workshops, but I've yet to see one as tiny as this. But hey, if yours is as small or even smaller, drop us a comment or an email. I'd love to see how you've done it. A bit about me and what I do. I'm an arborist by trade, Monday to Friday, tree surgeon, and I'm a wood turner by the weekend. My job comes in quite handy for finding nice bits of wood, nice bits of timber for working with. So it's a good hobby to have, really, with job I've got. If you ever want to have a look at my work, I've got a Facebook page, the Handmade Bowl Co. I'll put a link in at the bottom of the video. If you like it, give us a like. After as many as I can get, to be honest. And I'm always open to tips and advice, and I like to share my knowledge too. So here I am. I was inspired to start this channel by watching the likes of Steve Ramsey and the Drunken Woodworker. They've inspired me, taught me a lot. So I'd like to share on a little bit what I know. My work's mainly bowls. I turn a lot of bowls, kitchenwares, and I do a lot of pens, wooden pens. It's a strange combination, but it's what I like, and dare I say it, I'm half good at it. And I like to work with gnarly bits of wood. I don't like straight grain. I like bits of root wood. I find a lot of my timbers from around the stumps. Most of my timber, I'm quite lucky that most of my timber comes from trees that are either already on the floor or trees that we have to take down at work that are either dying or decayed. I'm quite lucky that I can source stuff without having to buy timber that's been commercially felled. So kind of eco-friendly in a way. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk about my shed. So as I said, the shed started out life as a flat pack, 6'6", be 4'6" by 6.5 foot tall. And it sat on a timber block wall that's brought it up in height to 7'6" inches. From the start, I planned to have a good electricity supply for running all my tools, so I'm not unplugging, plugging in. So started out, I've got 8 double sockets. I've got a double light tube light that's running on a fuse switch, and that's all hooked up to an RCB consumer unit. The worktops and units are just 4x2, and they're covered in MDF for worktop. It's cheap and it's quick to replace, just screwed down. Anyway, I'll give you a little tour of the shed. So here we are, the micro workshop. Units I built, they're all 4x2, 4x2 timbers, just covered in MDF. As I said before, it's cheap and easy to replace. You knack at top, you just replace it. My router table, I use the router table a lot for doing pen boxes, finishing off chopping boards, what have you. I use it for, I make little jigs up, make trivets and small things. It did start life as a cheap router table that was bolted to some cheap pressed steel legs, and it had some pressed steel side extensions on, and it was pretty useless for such a small shed. I hate to use it outside. So I've integrated into worktop. I've integrated a fence and a nice plasticky top, which, believe it or not, is a good tip. This is just some second-hand cheap laminate flooring. Turn it upside down and it's got a weatherproof waxed sort of plasticky surface. It's quite hard wearing. Just countersink some screws and stick it down. So I've got the full length of this I can use for working or for my router. My lathe is just a cheap 37-inch lathe. It does me for what I want. To be honest, it's too long. I could do with cutting a bed down, but the way I've got it, it's it's actually easier for when I'm doing my bowls. I can stand here and I can get right in, as opposed to it being at 90 degrees. It's a little bit easier to work on as it is. My chisels, I keep all my nice chisels together. You wouldn't think it, but I try and keep them nice and tidy. And I have some just roughing down chisels. They're a bit crap, but the nice chisels I like to keep to my right hand side. There's a few of the bits of work I've done. There's a ball. I've just started making balls, and I'll make a video on how to make this. This is a ball turning tool. There's no need to spend 80 odd quid or whatever it is on eBay buying a fancy one. Choose something like that, which is actually made from an old G-clamp. A little bit of engineering going behind it, but quite easy to use. And instead of having a little handle, I actually put a square scraper chisel in there, so I've got full control by using a big handle. Less vibration, full control. So as I said, everything, I've got all my tools in here. Because it's so small, I've had to make it so each tool's got a place and each tool goes in its place. That's just my general bits and bats. Sandpaper, I usually have my sandpapers up, stuck to there, so when I'm finishing my bowls I can use that. It's easier to get to. Dust extraction, at the moment I'm just using a small hoover, but I've got a small cyclone and a pipe. I just pull it across and I hook it onto whatever I'm using. There is a pipe attachment for my router table. All my power tools, they all have their own little place. Sander, it stays out the way down there, and when I need it, it lifts up onto the top. Drills and what have you. I have a little trap door. It's got a hole cut in there, just so I can use my table saw on that. So I've got a small table saw, and occasionally when I'm chopping small pieces with my miter saw, I'll stick that up there. Down here is my bowl stock, my timber stock for my bowl turning. I've got a few boards I've milled there for chopping boards. I tend to try and bring them in here 6 months before I want to use them, and then they're drying out with stuff on the tops ready to use. I've got a load of stuff packed in down there, they're still drying. So generally my dry stuff goes towards this end, and my damper stuff goes back towards underneath my lathe motor, because it seems to kick off quite a bit of heat. I've got a couple of holes drilled in the top. It just sends some warm air down there, so effectively it's kiln drying my timber. Everything has its own little place, as I said. If every tool has its place, put it back. Every time you use it, it's there when you need to use it. Use it, put it back. I was working in a bigger garage before, and I could just throw stuff on the worktop and find it easy. But in here, for some reason, if you don't put stuff back because it's so small, if you don't put stuff back when you're using it, when it's getting messy, you won't find it again. So yeah, here's my shed. Basically, all these little shelves are all made with a Craig jointer, and they're just where I put my general work stuff. Got my carving knives, gougers, blades, knives, pens, pencils, my common drill bits, friction polishers, sandpaper, abranet. I have a little place for my rulers, finishers, oils, what have you. A load of books and a load of rubbish. Don't really look at that. The lighting, I've got the light turned off at the minute, but I've got a double exterior grade double bar lamp there. But to be fair, it's two little lamps with energy saving bulbs do me most of the time. It's just when you're working at a router table, I tend to cast shadows, so I'll put light on there. Eye protection, everything's always easy to get to. My Dremels have the place, my drills have their own little place. Basically that's it. That's the micro workshop. Anyway guys, that's my shed. Any tips, comments, please leave us a message below. Next video I'd like to concentrate on explaining the 10 pence ball turning tool. It works a lot better than most commercially available tools. With just a few tools you'll have laying around, you can make stuff like this on your lathe. As big as 4-inch diameter, 4-inch radius, so 8-inch diameter. feel free to check out my work at Facebook / Handmade Bowl Co. I'll leave a link at the bottom. And please like and subscribe. Thanks very much.